In 1986, it took many faces to give the San Francisco 49ers the look of a champion. But more than outward appearance, it was the 49ers' inner resolve that marked them as winners. They compiled a 10-5-1 record in a rough-and-tumble season that resembled a heavyweight title fight. Throughout 1986, adversity was the 49ers' toughest foe. But finesse and fury enabled them to wage a fight to the finish. They steamrolled over their final three opponents and became one of only two NFL teams to make the playoffs the last 4 years in a row. By displaying heart and hustle, the San Francisco 49ers won their fourth NFC Western Division championship in the past 6 seasons, and they reaffirmed their status as one of the premier teams of the 80s. September signaled the dawn of a new campaign, and the season opener at Tampa Bay was a case of theft in broad daylight, as the Niners produced a team record 7 interceptions. In a 31-7 victory, the offense also pulled out all the stops. But while passing for 356 yards, Joe Montana aggravated a chronic back injury that would require career-threatening spinal disc surgery. Other injuries to key personnel would have followed. Yet head coach Bill Walsh and 49er owner Edward DeBartolo Jr. knew that despite the loss of muscle, the team's morale would never weaken.
Well, fortunately, we've developed a sort of an atmosphere or a state of mind among our players over many years that can deal with adversity.
And I think they have stuck together, and I think that the youth has helped, the veterans have helped, and that's what is needed to keep teams perennially competitive. This is the type of team that really does rise to the occasion and comes through during adversity.
In our particular case, we begin to lose people, and those that replaced them have the conviction that they can play as well or better if ever called upon, and believe me, they were called upon this year.
Jeff Kemp responded to this call in forceful fashion. When Joe Montana's backup stepped to the forefront of the offense, his strong arm proved ideal for long-distance dialing, and he was one of 3 49er quarterbacks to pass for over 300 yards in 1986. In 6 starts, Kemp led his new team to 3 consecutive wins, including a Week 4 triumph over Miami in the Orange Bowl. Kemp helped the 49ers pass this crucial early season test with flying colors by passing for 2 scores in a 31-16 win. Miami's explosive offense was defused by 4 interceptions, including Ronnie Lott's theft and lateral to number 46, Tom Holmoe, that resulted in a 66-yard touchdown. Throughout 1986, the electrifying play of Ronnie Lott ignited the 49er defense. An All-Pro and Pro Bowl starter, number 42 shot down the top guns of opposing attacks by playing the role of lethal weapon. Lott runs the show for defensive coordinator George Seifert.
Ronnie's become the quarterback for the defense, the signal caller for our defense just prior to the snap of the ball. He's a very dynamic player as far as his hitting ability and reaction to the ball.
In his first full season as an NFL free safety, Lott's 10 interceptions were a league high and also equaled a team record.
Everybody expected me to be a great free safety, more so than being a great corner. Playing corner was a challenging position for me because I wasn't supposed to play that position. But playing free safety, everybody expected me to be an all-pro, and that was a challenge in itself.
Meeting challenges is Ronnie Lott's trademark. He is one of the many experienced players who have helped create the 49ers' winning tradition, a tradition that is also embodied by a veteran offense. Behind a line that permitted just 26 sacks, the NFC's second lowest total, the 49ers towered above their conference rivals in both total offensive yardage and passing yardage. An elite core of veteran receivers included tight end Russ Francis, number 81. Francis' backup was John Frank, number 86. For number 87, Dwight Clark, consistency has been the hallmark of a brilliant career, as evidenced by his still active streak of 104 games with at least one reception. Number 33, Roger Craig's 81 catches, led pro running backs in 1986. High knees and a hard nose also powered the versatile Craig to the club rushing lead. Craig was paired in the backfield with Wendell Tyler and Joe Cribbs, number 28, who became a valuable addition after being acquired from Buffalo. Throughout the decade, veterans such as these have contributed to the 49ers' pioneering style of offensive football. In 1986, they helped blaze a trail that led to the playoffs. An exhausting three-game mid-season road trip had overtones of a forced march for the Niners. At Green Bay in Week 8, Mike Morawski started in place of injured Jeff Kemp. Morawski threw for one touchdown and ran for another. But with 33 seconds left, it was Torrey Nixon who saved the 49ers from a third straight overtime contest. Number 20, Nixon's 88-yard interception return wrapped up a 31-17 victory. Taking role players like Morawski and Nixon from the right-hand side of the depth chart to increase the left-hand side of the one-lost record is a Bill Walsh specialty. Walsh is now the winningest 49er head coach ever, and a major factor in his success is the fine coaching staff he has assembled.
We believe we have the best coaching staff in football. I'm certainly rivaled by a lot, but we have experienced men who have done such a brilliant job over a period of time, not only in the strategy and tactics of the game, but in developing personnel. It has to be one of the great staffs that have been put together in recent years.
Expert coaching helped 4 rookies assume key roles in the 49er defense. Cornerback Tim McKyer, cornerback Don Griffin, defensive end Larry Roberts, and pass rushing specialist Charles Haley, number 94, comprise this talented young quartet. Haley's 12 sacks represented a team high and were the most by an NFC rookie in 1986. Number 91, Roberts' devastating hitting style marked him as an up-and-coming quarterback rusher. McKyer and Griffin shouldered enormous coverage responsibilities, but this young duo's rapid progress compensated for the loss of All-Pro Eric Wright. Number 22, McKyer, and Griffin, number 29, helped the Niners accumulate 49 takeaways, the NFL's highest total for 1986. While these unheralded rookie quarterbacks were occasionally beaten, they were never broken. First-year players have a way of developing quickly in the 49er system, and 1985's top rookie got even better in 1986. Jerry Rice is a honey of a wide receiver, whose 15 receiving touchdowns shattered a club record that had stood for nearly 40 years. Rice's 86 catches were an NFC best, and his 1,570 receiving yards represents the third highest single-season total in pro football history. These achievements stem from a dazzling array of skills.
He's got great acceleration to a ball. He's strong, he's exceptionally quick, and he's just a natural competitor along the lines of a Joe Montana or Dwight Clark. They're instinctive competitors, and they can play under any given situation.
You can just throw it and he just goes and gets it. People just learn to respect him a lot more, so they're giving him more room so he can do just about what he wants.
Throughout 1986, All-Pro and Pro Bowl starter Jerry Rice was the headline performer of the 49ers offense. But on one of his best days of the season, he relinquished the spotlight to a man who had been absent from center stage for 9 weeks. Joe Montana's most incredible comeback ever was preceded by a mild case of stage fright.
Well, I was nervous and excited. I was glad to be back, but butterflies were a little bigger. They were big monarchs, I think, instead of a little tiny but a moth type. I was afraid of coming back and not being able to perform as well as I had before I left.
Montana kept the faithful on their feet, and the St. Louis Cardinals off balance by throwing 3 touchdown passes in a 43-17 10th week victory.
Montana's ready, looking good, completely at ease, going deep. He's throwing to the goal line to Rice. He leaps, he catches it. Touchdown, 49ers! Joe Montana, you think he's got a sore back? Well, it certainly doesn't hurt his throwing.
He's like Indiana Jones. He can go up against odds, and he just believes in himself. He believes that nothing can stop him, and Joe just has this one tangible that is hard to describe, but it equals wins.
Joe Montana had courageously demonstrated what he finds truly rewarding about his fabled career.
It's not the money, it's the love of that game and that competition. Every down's different, and I just love it.
A nucleus of savvy, steely-eyed veterans made the 49er defense one of pro football's best in 1986. Nose tackle Michael Carter, number 95, is a rampaging inside force who brutalizes blockers and ball carriers. Power up the middle was also generated by linebacker Ricky Ellison, number 50. The pass rush was led by outside men Dwayne Board, number 76, and Jeff Stover, number 72. With 11 sacks, Stover demonstrated an ability to make pass blocking seem like a lost art. Unsung Milt McCall, number 53, typified the valuable contributions of a linebacking corps whose mainstay was Keena Turner, number 58. The team leader in total tackles was strong safety Carlton Williamson, number 27, who also made his presence felt on pass defense. Veterans Jeff Fuller, number 49, Torrey Nixon, Ronnie Lott, Jim Fonhorst, and Tom Holmoe, number 46, helped the 49ers produce an NFL high and team record 39 interceptions. This total included 5 touchdown returns that also established a club standard. In 1986, only 2 teams in pro football allowed fewer points than the Niners, who posted a 20-0 shutout of Atlanta in Week 12. The Falcons were frustrated by 8 sacks. There was also rock-solid run defense and a gem of a special teams play by Don Griffin, number 29, that put the game out of reach.
There's Griffin backpedaling to the 24-yard line where he catches it. Comes up to the 30, down the sideline to the 40, to the outside, to the 45, the 50. Cuts back through the middle of the 40. He's down to the 30, being chased from behind. I think he'll make it. He's at the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, 49ers!
But this convincing conquest was followed by a devastating defeat. A Monday night matchup against the New York Giants began with the Niners offense displaying clockwork precision. Tenacious defense also helped carve a 17-0 halftime lead. But the eventual world champions ultimately prevailed, and the 49ers suffered an uncharacteristic loss that cast doubt on their postseason chances. They now faced consecutive must-win games against 3 playoff-bound opponents. 1 week later, however, this setback became a blur, and the gleam returned to their eyes. Against the New York Jets, Joe Montana continued the comeback that would earn him his teammates' vote as the Len Eschmont Award winner for inspirational and courageous play. A resurgent rushing attack accounted for all 3 touchdowns. Number 33, Roger Craig, ran for a pair of scores, and rookie Tom Rathman, number 44, added another. Rathman's first pro touchdown cemented a 24-10 win. The swift strides of the running game next propelled the Niners into New England. Roger Craig paced a sweeping assault with over 175 combined yards from scrimmage. Determination enabled the Niners to come from behind twice in this do-or-die contest. Number 28, Joe Cribbs, ran for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Ray Wershing kicked 3 field goals. The 49ers also proved equal to the task of defending one of pro football's highest-scoring teams. Late in the game, Keena Turner's forced fumble and interception set up 10 points that sent San Francisco to a 29-24 triumph and guaranteed the Niners their 5th playoff berth since 1981. For the second straight week, the 49ers had beaten a playoff-bound team. But one more remained, and this final confrontation with Los Angeles would determine the NFC West Championship. The 49ers had chased the Rams during a marathon race of a season. Now, with the finish line in sight, they were ready to overtake them and never look back.
They know something's behind them. Now it's going to turn around and tear their hearts out. Yeah!
At the outset of this game, the Niners established a feverish pace, then maintained it for 60 breathtaking minutes.
to pass, going deep, throwing it 50 yards downfield to Rice. He leaps. He's got it. Touchdown, 49ers!
When Los Angeles pulled to within 3 points in the second quarter, Joe Montana directed a flawless 92-yard touchdown drive that put the 49ers in complete control of the contest.
And here they are at the line of scrimmage now. The Rams put 7 men up there at the goal line. Defense now. Rice in motion. Handoff to Cribbs. He drives. He's in. And touchdown, 49ers! Everett going back to pass, fakes once, now throws deep. He's going 30 yards, and it is intercepted. Picked off at the 22-yard line by Ronnie Lott. And the 49ers have struck defensively again.
The Niners clinch the NFC West title with a 24-14 victory.
Back to pass, throws one into the end zone, and Francis with a one-hand catch has it. Touchdown, 49ers!
It was probably the biggest game that we've been in a long time. You could feel the emotion, and I was as pleased as anybody could be. It was one of the highlights of my football career.
The look of a champion. In 1986, the 49ers once again wore it proudly. They also demonstrated that they possess the heart of a champion, and that is why the San Francisco 49ers have created and maintained a winning tradition that is likely to endure for seasons to come.
(26-20), Bengals lead here. At just 6 seconds remaining, they have it fourth down at their own 30-yard line. They can run a play, and that's what they're going to do. Now the 49ers are going to have to try to get to him for 6 seconds. And a give on to Brooks, and Brooks is tackled and stopped, and the play will be ruled dead right there. So there's 2 seconds left. The 49ers will have a chance to throw one, and Montana will get one throw. Taylor and Clark and Wilson go to the far side, right to the near side. Here's Montana throwing for the end zone. Right, he got it! Touchdown, 49ers!
I think Roger Craig and I skipped off the field. I really do. Boy, that was the most ecstatic moment we've had in a long time, because we got a victory out of what looked as though a sure defeat, and it catapulted us into a great season.
Montana back to throw. He steps up, throws down the middle, right. He's got a touchdown, 49ers!
The San Francisco 49ers are movers and shakers in the push and shove world of pro football. Their brilliantly choreographed style of play is exhilarating and features athletes whose talents often seem to be heaven sent. The 49ers have molded a winning environment out of deep feeling and mutual respect.
We're just like one big family. We enjoy being around each other, and once we hit that football field, we'll do anything to win. I would say we are one heartbeat, and we really play for each other.
When Bill Walsh was hired and we started our development program of the 80s, all that I really strived for was to be a perennially competitive football team. And I think that we have proven that that's the type of organization we are, and that's the type of team we've been in the 80s.
We have won 2 World Championships in this decade and won our division any number of times. So I think we're sustaining our success as well as anybody. Everybody's in sync in the entire organization and on our squad, our coaches, our players. Everyone's communicating, everyone has confidence and believes in each other.
We're going on 11 years that Bill Walsh has been with the 49ers and with me. I think we've developed an extremely good relationship, both on and off the field. Bill, in turn, has developed that relationship with our front office personnel and also through his coaching staff to the players. And I think it's a credit to Bill Walsh and his staff that we had the magnificent year we had. I was extremely pleased with our 13-2 record. It was the best in the NFL. You know, we went through a strike-torn year, which affected all the NFL franchises, and the 49ers were no exception. We had a master plan orchestrated by Bill Walsh, John McVay, and our coaching staff on just how we were going to approach the season during a strike. I think that they did a magnificent job. We were perfect with our replacement team, and that's a credit to them and to their football knowledge.
During the strike, San Francisco's fine coaching staff brought a shadow team to life. While most of the players were temporary, the momentum they created was permanent, as they earned victories against the Giants, Falcons, and Cardinals. A well-schooled, well-prepared unit proved that for the 49ers, replacement football was more than a masquerade. At New Orleans, the regulars returned in full force. The Niners beat the Saints 24-22 as Joe Montana threw 3 touchdown passes. The following week in Anaheim, the defense held the run-oriented Rams to a mere 62 yards on the ground. Tom Rathman, number 44, scored the first touchdown in a 31-10 victory. When the 49ers finally returned to Candlestick, fans were as excited as kids in a toy store. In only their second home appearance in 8 games, the Niners racked up nearly 450 yards of total offense during a 27-20 triumph over Houston.
Fake to Craig. Montana to throw. Completes it to Rathman. Touchdown 49ers. Montana rolling out. He throws. It's touchdown. Very right. Montana fakes. He's throwing. Throws. Rathman. Touchdown 49ers.
When this offense is working right, it's the only word to describe it is fun, because we're on the positive side of it. It's almost unstoppable.
This almost unstoppable offense is led by a thoroughly unflappable quarterback. Joe Montana continued his remarkable recovery from back surgery, setting a team record for passing accuracy while demonstrating that he still possesses the perfect combination of mind and movement.
He's the most graceful, quick-footed, nimble quarterback we've seen in many years. He can get the ball up very quickly, moves very quickly. He doesn't run all over the field at this point in his career, but he's still capable of running when necessary. Almost sensual, his movement, artistic in a natural way, and we try to take full advantage of it.
I have an instinct of knowing when to move and when not to move, and sometimes I get criticized for leaving the pocket too soon, but you know, I feel in the long run the judgments turn out to be in my favor, because something, usually if I can get away, something good usually happens.
Something good also usually happened when the league's top-rated quarterback remained in the pocket. Montana's career-high 31 touchdown passes led the NFL and established a new team standard. Throughout 1987, Joe Montana once again proved his tenacity and his talent.
A lot of people had sort of semi-written him off as though he could still play but might be called an aging athlete, and he had something to prove. And for all the arguments you receive and the positions that people take as to who is the best, Montana has to be considered the very best when you look at his overall record and his championship games and everything that goes with it.
The 1987 49ers were a winning team and an evolving team. Their lineup was sprinkled with new starters, and by mid-season, their offensive line was dramatically revamped.
We went to face the LA Rams with basically by the beginning of the second quarter, we had an entire new offensive line. In the NFL, that shouldn't work. I think one, there's been some very good coaching. Two has been dedication and diligence by the guys involved. And three is something you have no control over. I think it's a mixture of luck and the right combination of guys.
The changing of the guard saw 12-year pro Cross, number 51, move to center, where he was flanked by former backups Bruce Colley and Jesse Sapolu. The tackles included Bubba Paris, Steve Wallace, and number 79, Harris Barton, an all-rookie selection. The new starters at tight end were Ron Heller and John Frank, number 86. Although wide receiver Mike Wilson, number 85, owns 2 world championship rings, 1987 marked his first season in a starting role. Despite these changes in the 49ers attack, they led the NFL in scoring and total offense. They also assumed the league lead in rushing yardage after number 44, Tom Rathman, became the starting fullback and displayed a style that was run and stun. Rathman's punishing personality was mirrored on defense by strong safety Jeff Fuller, number 49. Fuller's specialty was the takedown, but he was also capable of producing the takeaway. Of course, one reason why these new starters were so successful was that they were surrounded by a nucleus of savvy veterans. Defensive mainstays included free safety Ronnie Lott, ends Dwayne Board, Pete Kugler, and Jeff Stover, and linebacker Keena Turner, number 58. In his 8th season with the Niners, Turner could still cool off quarterbacks. He was also proficient at putting pass receivers on ice. The dean of the entire defense was number 76, Board, a 9-year pro. The secondary's senior members were number 27, Carlton Williamson, and Ronnie Lott. Number 42, Lott, went to the Pro Bowl for the 6th time in his 7-year career, as he helped the 49ers produce the NFC's second highest takeaway total. The defense's ability to secure good field position gave 15-year veteran place kicker Ray Wershing numerous opportunities to increase his team career record for points scored. Reliable Roger Craig, number 33, a 5-year pro, led the Niners in rushing for the 3rd straight season. And midway through 1987, he made a successful transition from fullback to halfback. This versatile Pro Bowl performer caught more passes than any running back in the NFL. But when it comes to receiving routes, one address looms large in 49er history and has provided the site for some very special deliveries. Dwight Clark announced his retirement in 1987, and during his remarkable career, he produced the longest consecutive game receiving streak in 49er history. He is also the team's all-time leader in receptions and receiving yardage. Dwight leaves a lasting legacy of hustle, hard work, and heads-up play.
His worth of the 49ers can never be measured. He's been the epitome of the San Francisco 49ers during his career. He's not only going to be missed as a great football player, but he's going to be missed by me as a great friend.
Dwight played every second as if it were crunch time. In the 1981 NFC Championship, he helped the Niners grab hold of their first Super Bowl berth when he made the catch. Although 1987 marked Dwight Clark's last waltz, he rocked and rolled with the league's best throughout the year. Against the Cleveland Browns in the season's 12th game, he caught his 500th career pass, then later scored a touchdown.
Montana straight back to throw. Steps up, throws for Clark. Wide open! Touchdown, 49ers!
There were also defensive heroics in this confrontation between two of pro football's finest teams as the Niners rallied from an early 10-7 deficit. San Francisco totaled 455 yards against the AFC's top-ranked defense. Joe Cribbs ran for one score, and Joe Montana's 4 touchdown passes included 3 to Jerry Rice.
In motion goes Rice. Montana looking, throwing for Rice. Touchdown, 49ers. Back to throw, Montana. Throws, he's got Rice open. He's got it at the 5. Touchdown, 49ers. You gotta love it.
With this 38-24 victory, the 49ers were closing in on their 6th playoff berth of the 1980s. Jerry Rice is known as Flash 80, and he plays with a white-hot intensity that earned him his teammates' vote as the Len Eshmont Award winner for 1987. In just 12 games, Rice produced 22 scoring receptions, the most ever by an NFL wide receiver. And his 23 total touchdowns established a new 49er record. Pro Football's Offensive Player of the Year took defensive backs to the cleaners. And this highly polished performer likes everything to be neat off the field as well.
After a hard day at work, I go home and the house is not clean, I'll clean the house. I can change diapers. I do it all.
Montana back to throw. Throws to Sidney. Sidney's going to throw. He throws long. Rice is open. Touchdown, 49ers. Montana looking for the quick throw. Throws, completes it to Rice. He's the 40. He's the 30. He's the 20. He's to the 5. Touchdown, 49ers. How fast is he?
You never really know how fast he is. It seems like you throw a ball and you say, "Guy, he'll never get to this." And all of a sudden, he just has a little bit left to go and get it.
He has great functional speed, I think, and there may be faster defensive backs in the league, but they have yet to catch him.
He's going to throw long. And for Rice, Rice is there. He's got it. Touchdown, 49ers.
Another gear for Rice that just seemed to separate from Jerry Gray when the ball was in the air.
I still pinch myself every now and then when I watch the catches on film because I can't believe it's me out there making catches like that.
While Jerry Rice basked in the bright lights of NFL superstardom, the league's top-ranked defense featured a spirited cast of unsung heroes.
Personality-wise, you do have a lot of guys that aren't looking for the limelight. We're here to do our job. We want to be respected for what we do, but, you know, limelight, it's not necessary as long as we're getting our job done, and everybody understands that.
No one on our team really has those outstanding nicknames or get all the media coverage, but as long as we get the job done, we're happy.
Carter, number 95, was voted a Pro Bowl starter at nose tackle. For the second straight year, the Niners' sack leader was Charles Haley, number 94. Inside linebacker Michael Walter, number 99, topped the team in total tackles. Depth was exemplified by linebackers Jim Fonhorst, Milt McCall, and Todd Shell, number 90, and backup safety Tom Holmoe, number 46. Tim McKyer, number 22, and Don Griffin comprised the league's best young cornerback tandem. Griffin, number 29, did not allow a touchdown pass during the regular season. This unyielding unit of unheralded names typified the total team effort that is the 49ers trademark.
I like to think of our defense as a machine. Every component has to click. Every component has to work together. And when it does work together, we're one of the best machines in the business.
The defense paced a pounding of the Chicago Bears in the 14th game of the season. Before the largest regular season crowd in Candlestick Park history, the Niners forced the NFC Central Division champs into committing 6 turnovers. When Joe Montana injured his hamstring, Steve Young took over and instantly ignited the offense. Young fired 4 touchdown passes in a 41-0 Monday night massacre that represented one of the season's most satisfying victories.
Young, back to throw, looking, stepping up, throwing for the end zone. Clark, touchdown, 49ers. Young back to throw, look out, they rush, he throws for the end zone. Rice makes the catch, touchdown, 49ers. What a catch. What a catch he made on that for the touchdown.
This contest offered persuasive evidence that Steve Young is the NFL's most talented reserve quarterback. The following week as a starter, he passed for 3 touchdowns and ran for another in a 35-7 rout of Atlanta. Another indication that every 49er was capable of contributing to a winning effort was provided by Joe Cribbs, the kickoff return man on an improved special teams unit.
And it's over about the 6-yard line, picked up there by Cribbs. He's to the 20, the 25, the 30, to the 35, breaks the tackle, out in front, he's at 50, the 40,
But despite a league-best 12-2 record, the Niners still needed one more win to clinch their 5th NFC West title in the last 7 years. In a rainy regular season finale, they marched to a decisive victory over the Rams. The first half saw Steve Young throw 3 touchdown passes.
Fake to Craig, back to throw, Young down the middle for Rice. He makes the catch, touchdown, 49ers, a 50-yard scoring pass to Rice. Young looking to throw, running out, he's in trouble, may run, looks back, looking for someone, throws, end zone, touchdown, Mike Wilson.
You have any idea how demoralizing that is for a defense?
For the 3rd straight week, the NFC's stingiest defense did not allow a touchdown. In the second half, Joe Montana resumed control of the offense and applied the finishing touches to a 48-0 triumph that secured the 2nd-best regular season record in franchise history.
Montana, draw, fakes, draw, throws, touchdown to John Frank.
Throughout 1987, the San Francisco 49ers once again demonstrated that they are a team united by one purpose, one imagination, one heartbeat.
We came a long way as a team. We came a long way as an organization. And I truly believe that the great years for the San Francisco 49ers are ahead of us.
The resourcefulness of the players has been at a premium, and their willingness to sacrifice for each other at a premium. Then above and beyond that, I think our system of football sustained itself, and we refined it further and further each year until at some point it might even have been an art form.
The 1988 San Francisco 49ers projected an image of football excellence. the Niners boasted a glittering cast of shining stars. But it was a dazzling display of teamwork that defined them as champions. This resilient, determined, and talented team demonstrated a high level of artistry. In capturing their third world championship of the 1980s, the San Francisco 49ers created a masterpiece of a season. The 49ers walked a tightrope into New Orleans for their season opener with the Saints. Joe Montana's 3 touchdown passes paced the Niners to a 31-17 lead. In the fourth period, however, this comfortable 14-point cushion would become a hot seat when the Saints mounted a comeback. But the defense, led by number 95 Michael Carter, preserved a narrow 34-33 victory. Facing the Giants in Week 2, San Francisco again performed a precarious high-wire act. With less than a minute and a half remaining, the Niners were down to their last play. Down, but not out.
Third down. Montana to throw. Throws long for Rice down the sideline. He's on the 30.
In these cliffhanging dramas, heroism saved the day before the final, fatal fade to black. Steve Young rode to the rescue in a Week 9 nail-biter at Candlestick, with time running out and Minnesota leading by 4 points.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 15, the 10, he dives, touchdown 49ers.
When the 49ers were on the ropes, they revealed plenty of punch. This was a two-fisted squad, and team toughness was especially exemplified by an offensive line that wore battle scars as a mark of pride. The starters included left guard Jesse Sapolu, number 61, and center Randy Cross, number 51, still an imposing presence in his 13th and final pro season. The tackles were Steve Wallace, number 74, Bubba Paris, and number 79, Harris Barton. Versatile guard Guy McIntyre, number 62, rounded out a unit that embodied the Niners' penchant for delivering the knockout blow.
Well, you remember Sugar Ray Leonard when he was fighting. He was a jabber, he was a mover. He was a pure boxer. Everybody loved to watch him. Our offense used to be a lot like that. Well, the last few times he's fought, he's knocked people out. And our offense is a lot like that now. We've got the power, we've got the running game, and every air arsenal known to man that's going to work.
The sleek stealth bomber of this aerial arsenal was Jerry Rice, number 80. The game's best wide receiver was voted a Pro Bowl starter, as 5 of his 9 regular season receiving touchdowns were from 60 yards or beyond.
Montana back to throw. Throws long down the middle for Rice. He's open. He's got it. Touchdown 49ers. Back to throw Montana. Out in front is Rice. He is there. He's got it. He's got 40. It'll be a touchdown for the 49ers. 96 yards.
The line of scrimmage was also a long-distance launching pad for John Taylor, number 82. Reserves like Mike Wilson, Terry Greer, and Terrence Flagler, number 32, demonstrated that the Niners were deep in offensive talent. On a big play team, the big play ball carrier was the incomparable Roger Craig, number 33. Craig was a consistent breakaway threat with breathtaking abilities, and he tied for the NFL lead in total yards from scrimmage.
Roger is a very fun running back for an offensive line to block for. And a lot of his highlights haven't come on plays where the defensive 11 has been knocked on their rear ends. It's come where he's basically run through about 9 of the 11, and then, 4 or 5 of those 9 have gotten another shot at him again the second time around and haven't tackled him.
San Francisco's Man of Steel enjoyed a super campaign that saw him flex his many skills. Craig's club-high 76 receptions topped all NFL running backs, and this Pro Bowl starter possessed high knees as well as soft hands. In a victory over the Rams, Craig rushed for a career-high 190 yards and 3 touchdowns, including an awe-inspiring effort that symbolized the spirit of the 1988 49ers.
The draw up the middle to Craig, and he breaks loose and runs loose. He gets used to the 30, to the 25. He's down to the 20. Breaks loose again. He's to the 10. 5. Touchdown 49ers. Oh, what a bonanza. Spectacular run by Roger Craig.
Might be the best run of his career.
A co-winner of the Len Eshmont Award for courageous and inspirational play, Roger Craig continually provided a splash of color and a swirl of excitement to an offense that was truly state-of-the-art.
Brilliant year, tremendous intensity, tremendous determination, great enthusiasm for the game of football, cares so much for all the people around him. He's one of the great people in the league and, to me, the most valuable player.
Many of the figures on San Francisco's football landscape were young players who had entered the NFL after the 49ers' 1984 World Championship.
These guys, they're young, they're motivated. It's the Pepsi generation, which they call themselves. And the Pepsi generation is a generation that is going to be the Niners of the future.
The nervy, never-give-an-inch spirit of this emerging generation was evidenced on special teams by rookie punter Barry Helton and by coverage standouts Sam Kennedy, Harry Sidney, and number 53 Bill Romanowski, who excelled at linebacker as well. The defense also received outstanding play from first-year linemen Daniel Stubbs and Pierce Holt, number 78. Number 94, Charles Haley, the club leader in sacks, became a Pro Bowl selection in his 3rd NFL season. Kevin Fagan, number 75, and Larry Roberts continued to develop as pass rushers. And enemy aerial attacks also encountered heavy flak from cornerbacks Tim McKyer and Don Griffin, number 29. Number 22, McKyer, topped the team in interceptions. The Pepsi generation added sparkle to the league's 3rd-ranked defense, which also had plenty of Coca-Cola Classic on hand. San Francisco's veterans were vital components in the brilliantly designed machine of defensive coordinator George Seifert.
You have to know what your talent is, and you have to be able to work with it. George does a great job of improvising and putting guys in the right positions.
You really don't have to be defensive in your thinking. You can be offensive in your thinking and start putting in specialized types of defenses to attack the offense before they have a chance to attack you.
Pro Bowl nose tackle Michael Carter, number 95, co-recipient of the Len Eshmont Award, spearheaded an attack that was also ignited by fierce, feisty pros like linebacker Ricky Ellison, number 50. The team leader in total tackles was linebacker Michael Walter, number 99. Despite injuries, number 58, Keena Turner, remained a force at linebacker, while Jeff Fuller, number 49, emerged as one of the game's most feared safeties. After a 2-year layoff, number 21, Eric Wright, proved that his pass coverage skills had not diminished. Perennial Pro Bowl pick Ronnie Lott, number 42, again displayed the savvy and savagery that have made him a cornerstone in the 49ers' winning foundation.
We set that standard in 1981 that this is 49er football, and the only way that that tradition is going to carry on is to pass it on to younger people and hope that they can carry it on after I leave.
That tradition could not be eclipsed by the rising of a bad moon. Nor could it be swept away by an ill wind of adversity that threatened to blow the Niners off course during a slump in which obstacles suddenly became too high to hurdle. After losing 3 of 4, the 49ers found themselves with a 6-5 record, 2 games behind the division-leading Saints.
Great teams know how to pull it together. It comes with camaraderie with the team, and we stuck together throughout the whole year. And I think, as far as later part of the season, we knew how to turn up another notch.
A Week 12 Monday night meeting with the Redskins inaugurated a 4-game winning streak as San Francisco stormed to a 37-21 victory.
Montana to throw, steps up, throws, has a man wide open, touchdown 49ers, Brent Jones.
Pro Bowl return specialist John Taylor's 95-yard punt return became the longest in team history.
Now tries to go back the other side, is pulled down, gets away, goes to the 10, stumbles at 15, jumps over that at the 20, he's out in front at the 50, the 40, the 30, 20, a magnificent return by John Taylor.
The following week at San Diego, number 25, Doug DuBose and Roger Craig combined for 3 rushing touchdowns. Joe Montana threw a pair of scores to Jerry Rice and another to Craig that proved the Niners could stumble and still maintain a winning balance.
Montana going to throw, rolls out, in trouble, slips, falls, lobs it to Craig, touchdown 49ers. What a play by Montana.
At Atlanta, the defense kept the Falcons out of the end zone in a 13-3 win, and Mike Kofer, the NFC's highest scorer, kicked a pair of field goals. Then, at Candlestick, San Francisco seized the NFC West lead from the Saints. Craig's 7th 100 yards plus rushing performance of 1988 provided the spark.
Montana back to throw, steps up, throws, has Taylor wide open, 45, 40, in front, 30, 20, 10, touchdown 49ers.
A 30-17 triumph secured the 49ers 6th divisional title since 1981 and sent them to their 7th playoff appearance of the decade. Joe Montana towered above the competition in 3 postseason games. Montana helped the Niners earn a trifecta that proved when the stakes are highest, he is a pure thoroughbred.
He's like a great racehorse. A great racehorse knows when it's a Kentucky Derby. They know when it's important. They know for some reason there's a lot of money on the line. You put Joe Montana in a big game, I don't care if you've had him in an isolation cell for 10 days before that, he'll go out on that field and he'll know it's important and he'll play good.
In the NFC playoffs against Minnesota, Joe exploded out of the starting gate and connected with Jerry Rice for 3 first-half scores. After a 34-9 win propelled the 49ers to their 4th conference championship game of the 1980s, a usually soft-spoken quarterback delivered a message that came through loud and clear.
The teams that have beaten another team by a big margin have come back the next week and played terrible.
And that is not going to happen to this ball club. I ain't bullshit. We've opened the door. We're going to go through it next week, and we're going to kick ass and take no prisoners the week after. That's right.
Despite a wind chill factor of minus 26 degrees, the 49ers breathe fire for 60 minutes. Montana put the Chicago Bears in the deep freeze with 3 touchdown passes, and the first of his 2 hookups with Rice covered 61 yards.
To throw. They rush. He steps up. He throws. Has Rice open. He makes the catch. He gets away at the 40. It's a foot race. 30. They won't touch him. It's touchdown 49ers. Montana back to throw. Rolling out. Looking. Throwing. Touchdown 49ers. He hits John Frank for the score.
The always tough Tom Rathman climaxed a 28-3 victory that sent San Francisco to the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in the last 8 seasons.
Number 3, baby, 3 times! 3 times, baby!
Everyone must have a ticket. Have a great stay here in Miami.
In Super Bowl 23, the 49ers' unique brand of teamwork took full flight. The defense threw a thick blanket over the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. Pro football's top-ranked offense was held to a mere 229 yards. While 49er defenders did not allow a touchdown for the 2nd straight week, San Francisco's offense took a while to get on track. Super Bowl MVP Jerry Rice, however, turned in a record-setting performance with 11 catches for 215 yards. Rice's 4th period score evened the contest at 13 apiece. When a Bengals field goal gave them the lead with just over 3 minutes remaining to play, the 49ers responded in dramatic fashion by engineering the greatest drive in Super Bowl history.
With 3:10 remaining, the 49ers will have to go from their 8-yard line. There's a lot staring them in the face. Montana throws over the middle, completes it to Craig. Craig is to the 16. Joe back to throw, steps up, throws, out here for Rice. He has it at midfield, goes out of bounds. Montana to throw, completes it up the middle to Craig. Craig is down to the 36-yard line. It'll be another 49er first down, and the 49ers will go without a huddle again. Montana back to throw, throws over the middle, a fine catch by Rice. Rice to the 20, he's down to the 19. Another brilliant catch by Jerry Rice.
It's such a sight to watch this. It is, whether it happens now or not, to watch Joe Montana do this so many years, and to watch this absolute surgeon on the football field and one of the all-time greats do his thing again, it's almost like poetry.
At the 10-yard line, 39 seconds remaining. Back to throw Montana. Steps up, throws. Touchdown! Taylor is at the 12 touchdown. A 10-yard pass. The 49ers have scored. And the 49ers have won the Super Bowl. The 49ers with 3 Super Bowl victories in the 1980s as they win it on a brilliant drive, 20-16.
Damn, it's great, isn't it? You got it up. I just want to say thank you to all the defensive guys, this entire team. I couldn't feel better about a group of fellas ever. Just thanks. I mean, win the Super Bowl. It's the way to do it. Thanks, guys.
Hey, I want to say, whoever came up with the phrase, it ain't over till it's over. Yeah, baby.
I love it. God, I'm so happy. I'm happy for the city. The city needs it.
This is a tough moment in a way, because was this the final game on the sideline for a great coach, Bill Walsh? emotional moment right now with the coach down here inside the locker room, Jack.
Walsh charted a path that enabled the 49ers to become the team of the decade. He was assisted by an outstanding staff that included new head coach George Seifert.
The type of program that's been established with the 49ers is one of a winning tradition, and we have a very strong foundation. Our players know exactly what's expected of them, in that we all understand the standards that have been established.
Those standards were established by Edward J. DeBartolo Jr. and Bill Walsh, the winningest head coach in franchise history. Walsh's style of leadership raised the 49ers' level of play to an art form.
The leader accounts and adjusts to his men. Some of the personalities on our team had as much to do with the style of our play as the coach. So it was a combination, a chemistry that developed, and it's just great to be along for the ride.
Eddie DeBartolo and Coach Walsh and the staff.
After their thrilling victory in Super Bowl 23, the San Francisco 49ers were accorded a hero's welcome at the White House.
Welcome to the White House.
This visit was a once-in-a-lifetime honor that some team members hoped could be experienced twice in a lifetime.
It's something I'll never forget, and maybe next year I'll get a chance to come back again.
From Washington, D.C. to New Orleans, the 49ers moved on the corridors of power with pride and purpose. The 1989 campaign saw the Niners post pro football's best record. Then they earned another trip to the nation's capital after outmaneuvering and outmuscling the Denver Broncos in Super Bowl 24. A history-making 55-10 triumph enabled the 49ers to become the NFL's first back-to-back world champion since 1980.
59 laser! 39
The 49ers became an unstoppable force by creating and realizing a vision of glory.
If you don't dream about certain things, you'll never accomplish them. And I think that this team this year, we put some dreams out there and we thought about some things that we want to accomplish. And by thinking about them and by dreaming about them, you have an opportunity to maybe make them happen.
Back to back, baby. Back to back. Back to back. Back to back. Number one.
The 49ers logged a lot of miles during 1989. They began the exhibition season in Tokyo, and this trip demonstrated that they were the defending champions of a very big world indeed.
Joe Montana. 49ers. Go, go, go. Go.
The Niners always seemed to be on the go, as 7 of their first 8 games were played away from Candlestick. A season-opening 30-24 win at Indianapolis was paced by the running of Roger Craig, number 33. This was a promising first step on the road back to the Super Bowl. But the next few stops on this road presented obstacles and tests of character. At Tampa, in Week 2, the Niners confronted what appeared to be a dead-end street. But then, they shifted to a higher gear.
First and goal, split backs, on his hip, Montana to the end zone! Touchdown 49ers, he brings it in himself!
The following week in Philadelphia, Joe Montana was sacked 8 times, but he held his ground against a ferocious pass rush. And ultimately, the Eagles' 28-17 lead vanished in a blaze of Montana-ignited firepower.
Big play! Big play!
Back to throw Montana. The blitz is here. He gets the ball away, though. It's up the right sideline. And breaking loose and going to go all the way. Taylor will go. It's a touchdown for the 49ers. Yeah!
Joe threw 4 of his team record-tying 5 touchdown passes in the final quarter. And a 38-28 victory would leave the Niners undefeated after 3 games.
Montana to throw. He wants the end zone. Rice has got it. Touchdown, 49ers.
Montana is peerless under pressure.
When you have guys who surround you are playing well and aren't afraid to be in that situation, then you relax more too.
Head coach George Seifert also contributed to a relaxed atmosphere in his first season as Bill Walsh's successor.
He's a very, very deep, intelligent man. He knows football inside and out. The way he's able to relate to and handle players is probably one of his greatest assets outside of his coaching ability. And I think he did a great job in his first year.
Well, I feel fortunate. I mean, Bill developed a tremendous organization here. You know, I've inherited something that's to be cherished and taken care of.
A vital part of the 49ers tradition is represented by a proud trio of veteran defenders. Ronnie Lott, Eric Wright, number 21, and Keena Turner, number 58, are 3 reasons why the 49ers have won 4 world championships. Turner is the senior member of the San Francisco defense, and his combination of intelligence and intensity made him a valuable contributor in 1989. Wright's outstanding pass coverage skills enabled him to protect a hard-fought come-from-behind victory in Week 5 at New Orleans.
4th down and 9 at the 19-yard line. This is the ball game. Hebert straight back drop. Lets it go over the middle. It is knocked down by Eric Wright with a sensational defensive effort.
Right at the last minute, Eric Wright reached around, got a hand on it, knocked it away.
1989 saw Ronnie Lott become the team's all-time leader in interceptions and interception return yardage. One of the finest defensive backs to ever play the game, Lott has helped define the unique style of play that is 49er football.
49er football to me is it's a style, it's a standard, it's a system that the players and the staff and the organization thrived on. We really don't compare ourselves to any other team when we're out on the football field. We feel if we play up to our standard, we're going to win a lot of football games.
This standard has also been established by another man who wears 4 championship rings. Joe Montana's legendary career is rich in storybook finishes and record book flourishes. The league's most valuable player for 1989 compiled the highest passer rating in NFL history. He completed over 70% of his throws, averaged better than 9 yards per completion, and according to the only other member of the offense to play in 4 Super Bowls, this great quarterback actually improved.
This is Joel's 11th season, and to me, he's reading defenses even better. He's in more control. He's just playing the best ball right now, and each year he seems to get better and better.
He's got a great accuracy and great touch, and his experience and his knowledge of our offense and where people are on defense, you just couple all that together, and then that little extra special something that no one seems to be able to define, and you got perhaps the greatest quarterback that's ever played.
Joe Montana is the player of the decade, and he has helped the 49ers become the team of the decade. A major earthquake forced the 49ers to find a temporary home for a Week 7 contest against New England. Like the extraordinary events of October 17th, this game was marked by tragedy and triumph. When Joe Montana was sidelined, Steve Young engineered a 37-20 triumph. But tragedy materialized when veteran safety Jeff Fuller suffered a season-ending injury.
when something like that happens to a teammate, it strikes pretty close to home, and I think it's brought us closer together.
Throughout the season, togetherness and toughness made San Francisco the NFC's second-ranked defense, comprised of skilled situation players who function much like a relay team. The Niner defense ran opponents into the ground. The down 7 alternated 15 players, including Holt, Roberts, Haley, Carter, Fagan, Burt, Stubbs, Millen, Von Horst, Walter, and Romanowski. The defense was equally proficient at knocking down opponents and passes. Wright, Micaiah, Griffin, Brooks, Lott, Holmo, Jackson, and Pollard manned a defensive backfield that pulled the plug on many a long-distance call. Propelled by their defense, the 49ers were soaring above the competition during the second half of 1989. At Candlestick in Week 10, San Francisco swooped down on the Atlanta Falcons and produced a 45-3 win.
Pressure by Holt, pressure by Haley, and the ball slips out of his hands. It's picked up by Haley. He goes into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers!
In a crucial Monday night confrontation with New York, timely takeaways thwarted a Giants comeback. The 34-24 victory left San Francisco with a 10-2 record, tops in the NFC. Another of the defense's finest hours occurred against the Chicago Bears, as 3 interceptions helped secure a 26-0 win. The 49ers' first shutout in 2 years was climaxed by number 32, Terrence Flagler's touchdown run. But the first and only score the 49ers would need came on a second quarter connection from Joe Montana to Jerry Rice, number 80.
Throw drops back, has time, he has Rice, it's a touchdown!
For Jerry Rice, scoring touchdowns is routine. But the way he scores them is anything but. This consensus All-Pro left defenders in the dust on his way to leading the NFL in receiving yardage and receiving touchdowns.
Montana, quick pass, left flat to Rice, cuts inside, beats Gordon. He cuts up the middle, he's to the 25, he's to the 20, 10, 5, touchdown 49ers! Montana wants to throw, he's got Rice, he's to the 40, he's to the 30, Taylor gives him a block, he's down to the 10, he's into the end zone, touchdown 49ers!
When you got so many guys like John Taylor, Roger Craig, Tom Rathman, you can't just focus in on one guy. I guess that's the reason why we have so much success.
Tom Rathman and Roger Craig are 2 of the most powerful weapons in a well-stocked arsenal that produced more yards of total offense than any team in pro football. 1989 marked the second straight season that Craig, number 33, rushed for over 1,000 yards. A Pro Bowl selection, Craig benefited from the crisp blocking of fullback Rathman, number 44.
Primarily, my responsibility is to block for Roger, and I enjoy blocking it due to the fact that that's probably the best thing I do.
With 73 receptions, Rathman was also the best pass catcher among NFC running backs. Rathman's backup, Keith Henderson, number 30, is a promising rookie who has a 78-yard catch and carry to his credit. The NFL's highest-scoring team featured 5 different players who caught more than 40 passes, including tight end Brent Jones, number 84. Jones possesses the potential to become an All-Pro. And in wideout John Taylor, the Niners boast a rising star who ascended to the top flight of NFL receivers in 1989. Number 82 Taylor earned Pro Bowl honors by gaining over 1,000 yards and scoring 10 touchdowns. When this elusive athlete turned on the spin cycle, he hung defenders out to dry. The greatest game of Taylor's young career keyed one of the most dramatic comebacks in 49er history. But a Week 14 thrill show at Anaheim began in horror show fashion. The surging Rams held the Niners in a stranglehold, and this Monday night contest was shaping up as a blowout until Taylor blazed a comeback trail. He set a team single-game record with 286 receiving yards while making NFL history by scoring twice from beyond 90 yards. Taylor's second electrifying touchdown was part of a 20-point fourth-period explosion that erased the Rams' 27-10 lead.
Into Taylor. Taylor breaks a tackle, cuts across the middle, breaks another to the 30. He's down the sideline. He's to midfield. He's to the 40. He's got a blocker in front of him. He's to the 10. He's to the 5. It's a touchdown. John Taylor.
On the ensuing kickoff, a turnover created by the special teams unit paved the way for the 30-27 miracle finish.
Hand off to Craig. He's into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers. They have the lead.
By clinching their 7th NFC West championship of the decade, the Niners also secured home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Big money game, big day, baby. This is what we live for, JT. It's what we live for, baby. Who can outdo who? Only the strong survive, baby. That's what we're here for. Kick their ass. That's what we got to do today. Payday. Payday.
This playoff payday saw Joe Montana cash in on superb protection from an offensive line featuring Pro Bowl guard Guy McIntyre. The Vikings' top-ranked pass rush never sacked Montana, who threw 4 scoring passes. Minnesota held a 3-0 first-period advantage when Jerry Rice turned a short toss into the beginning of a long afternoon for the Vikings. Rice's 72-yard touchdown ignited a 41-13 victory.
Down the right side is picked by Ronnie Lott, and he's got a lead. He's to the 40. He's to the 30. He's running hard to the 15, to the 10. He's into the end zone. Ronnie Lott, the interception touchdown for the 49ers.
Against the Rams, Ronnie Lott single-handedly performed a rescue mission when the contest was still up in the air.
Everett puts it on his hip, throws for the long one. He's got a receiver. Anderson and Ronnie Lott got there just in the nick of time.
3 and out, baby. 3 and out.
The Rams were pulverized by a punishing pass rush and a power running attack. And Montana threw for 2 scores to become the NFL's all-time leader in postseason touchdown passes. In a 30-3 win, All-Pro place kicker Mike Kofer kicked 3 second-half field goals, and inspiration was provided on the sideline by the presence of Jeff Fuller.
I told you I was doing it for you all year. You know that, man. Well, we'll get that Super Bowl ring for you too, baby. Getting it for you, man. You know that.
Against the Denver Broncos in Super Bowl 24, the 49ers continued their masterful postseason performance. and established themselves as one of the greatest teams in pro football history.
We know we're the best team. Let's just go out and prove it today. We got to play hard, play within your limits. Let's go out and kick some ass today.
Montana rolls to the right, comes back across the middle, complete to right, into the end zone, touchdown 49ers. Pump fake by Montana, launches it for the end zone, Jerry Rice! Oh, what a catch by Rice, touchdown 49ers!
Joe Montana's 3 touchdown passes paced a 27-3 halftime lead. And after the intermission, the call to glory never diminished.
Go, baby, keep the pressure on. Keep the pressure on.
This super performance was also keyed by a superb defense.
Elway steps back to throw, and it's intercepted by Michael Walter. Has a little time, and now it starts to move out. Now he lets it go, throws it downfield, should be picked off, and it is. Chet Brooks is back to the 50.
Offensive linemen Bruce Colley, Jesse Sapolu, Guy McIntyre, Terry Tausch, Harris Barton, Steve Wallace, Bubba Paris, and Chuck Thomas provided the muscle that maintained the momentum for a record-shattering 55-10 triumph.
Off to Craig, sweeps to the outside, he's into the end zone, touchdown 49ers. And haven't we said that a few times today? Best team in the league.
The boy is going to party tonight.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. I'll tell you what, I'm happy for you. I really am.
Congratulations for everything. Congratulations.
San Francisco 49ers keep their date with the history books. In one of the greatest football games ever played by one team, they become the first team in the history of the National Football League to win back-to-back Super Bowls since the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Back in July, when we traveled to Tokyo, we had a mission, we had a quest, and we have one hell of a football team. And I love you, God bless you, and thank you for being world champions.
Here it is, baby. Next year, 3-peat. We're going for 3 again. We're the first team in the history to do that. That's our next goal.
Anything is possible for a franchise that has made a habit out of making history. Back-to-back world championships are definitely within the reach of a team that stands head and shoulders above the NFL.